Mr. Bator here. Today we're going to look at polynomials, long division and factor theorem, and hopefully sketch some graphs using this. Okay, so let's look at the first part. A, so it tells you given that 2x minus 1 and x plus 2 are factors of 2x cubed plus ax squared plus 4x plus b, find the values of a and b. So now this is a cubic graph. So what we need to know is what we should be doing is get all the factors. So we've got a factor here, x minus 1, and we've got the second factor here, x plus 2. Now we've got the third factor here. What we don't know what it is. We need to find it out. So this will be okay for a quadratic. And what we can do is to get a cubic, we get x plus, let's just call it m. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3 factors, which when I expand it out and simplify, it should equal to 2x cubed plus ax squared plus 4x and plus b, which we need to find out. Okay. Without further ado, let's just expand this out. So 2x times x is 2x squared. Now 2x times 2 is 4x. Minus x, minus 1 times x is minus x. And minus 1 times 2 is minus 2. Now I'm going to collect all the like terms before I times it by this third factor. So that will give me 2x squared. 4x minus x is 3x. Minus 2. And then all this is going to be multiplied by x plus m. So let's times everything by x first of all. All this times by x is going to give me 2x squared, x cubed, times it by x. 3x times x is 3x squared. Minus 2 times x is minus 2x. Then I'm going to times everything by m. So I'm going to end up with 2mx squared. And 3x times m is 3mx, and then minus 2 times m is minus 2. Now this is going to equal, the left hand side is going to equal to the right hand side. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to match all the x squares and x's and constants to work out what a and b is. Now cubes are the same. I've got 2x cubed there and 2x cubed there, and that's not going to help us anyway, so we can ignore that. So in this case, let's match. So I'm going to put here match. Let's match the x squares first. So x squareds. How many x squares have I got here? I've got 3x squared there, so I've got 3, and I've got plus 2m. That's going to equal, how many x squares have I got? The right hand side is a. Okay, so I'll sort that out in a second once I find what m is. Now I'm going to match the x's together. So all the x's I've got here, I've got over here I've got minus 2, and then I've got a plus 3m here. Okay, and how many x's have I got on here? On this side I've got 4 x's, so that's equal to 4x. Now if I did the minus 2 to the other side, that gives me, oh sorry, I shouldn't have the x there, just need the coefficients. Okay. So So I've got so I've got the minus 2 and plus 3m. So that's all my x's on this side. On the right hand side I've got 4. So right, now we're getting there, now we're getting somewhere. So minus 2 goes to the other side, becomes a plus. So I'll get 3m equals 6, which means m is equal to 2. Okay, so we managed to get that. Now if I know m is equal to 2, straight away I can work out what a is, because when I sub in m as 2, that gives me 2 times 2 is 4, plus the 3 is 7, so therefore in this case a is going to equal 7. So we've got a, and now if we match up the constants, so on here the constants will just the number by itself, there it is, it's going to be minus 2m, that's the constants. The left hand side, on the right hand side the constants is equal to only b. Now I know that m is equal to 2, so therefore b is equal to minus 4. Great. Now what we've done here is we found what a and b is, so now we can write what's important. So we can write this down and we know what m is. So basically what we're saying is 2x minus 1 multiplied by x plus 2 multiplied by now x plus m. M is 2, so that will be x plus 2, so that's going to be a double root here. Okay, it's the same as 2x cubed plus, now a is 7, so that's 7x squared plus 4x, and the b here is minus 4, so that's going to be minus 4 in the end. Okay, so we've got a covered. Part B, let's have a look. Now it goes here, sketch this graph. Now in order to sketch this graph we need to factorize it, which we have done here. Now the importance of factorizing it, we can then find out the roots, and once we've got the roots we can then start we know where that's going to cross the x-axis, and from here straight away, having it in this form, when x equals to 0, that will go, that will go, that will go. We know that when x equals 0, it crosses a y-axis at minus 4. So let's just quickly write down these intercepts. So we know that when y is equal to 0, x can equal, so what will make that equal to 0? So when x is a half, when x equals minus 2, and this is also minus 2 because it's a double root. Okay, it just means it's a tangent at minus 2. And we also know that when x equals 0, and that's why it's not great in this form, we still can work it out, but it's better in this form. That goes to 0, that goes to 0, so we know that when x equals 0, y is equal to minus 4. Now we could work it from here too. When x equals to 0, this is minus 1, this is 2, this is 2, because that's gone to 0. So 2 times 2 is 4, times minus 1 is minus 4. You could also work it out from here, but it's easy spotted from here. So we know where it crosses the axis. We also know that it's a cubic, and we know it's a positive cubic. Now if it's a positive cubic, it has a shape like this, going upwards positive. Right, we can now sketch our graph. Okay, so we know, let's just go to blue. We know that it's going to cross at a half here. We know it's going to have a, so I can put the half here. I know it's going to have a double root factor here of minus 2. So that's minus 2 here. It's going to have a double root here. And it's going to have this shape. And I also know it's going to cross at minus 4. Let's just say, call this minus 4. Okay, so we know the graph is definitely going up, then it goes down, flats, and hits it there. So let's just go, the graph is going here, double root here, so it hits this axis, then it bounces back down, and then it turns and goes back up, looking like this. So there's a double root here, it crosses at half, and it goes through the y-intercept at minus 4. So this is the y-axis, and this is the x-axis. Okay, simple. Right. Okay, this is a similar question. If you want to pause it, go for it. If you want to see what's going on, carry on pressing play and keep on watching. So first of all, use factor theorem to find out a factor of x, and then goes hence solve this. So what we need to then do is do long division to solve it. Okay, first thing is using factor theorem, we need to sub in some numbers in here, which will make this go to 0. Now it's always best to look at this constant at the end, because the factor, which number you put in, should be a factor of 10. Okay, so that's always the best place to start from. So I'm going to first of all sub in my factor. Let's try 1. Okay, so 1 goes into 10. Let's just try 1 cubed plus 1 squared minus 11 times 1 is 11, and plus 10. Okay, so we got 10 plus 1 is 11, minus 11 is going to be 0, so that's going to end up as 1. So this is not a factor. Okay, let's try minus 1. Okay, so that's going to give me minus 1 cubed plus minus 1 squared, and that's going to end up as minus 11 times minus 1 is going to end up with positive 11, and that's plus 10 at the end. So what we're going to end up here is this is going to end up positive, so that's going to end up positive, so that's going to give me a 1, and that's going to be 10 plus 1 is 11, plus 11 is 22, take away 1, so it's going to be 21. So nope, that's no good. Let's try now, thinking about it, let's try 2. Okay, 2 goes into 10, so 2 cubed plus 2 squared minus 11 times 20 times 2 plus 10. Okay, so what we're going to get here is we're going to get 8. Let's get all the positives together first. 8 plus the 4 plus the 10, and that's going to be 11 times 2 is 22 minus 22. Now 8 plus 4 is 12, plus 10 is 22, take away 22 equals 0, so bingo, this is going to work. So therefore f of 2 is equal to 0, in which case x, because this is the form f of x, that's the factor we want, so we know that x equals 2 would work. And if we bring that to one side, we'll get x minus 2 equals 0. So this, use factor to find a factor. So this is a factor of f of x. Now, it takes a bit of time, but once we got it, we can then go on to the next part. Pretty straightforward by doing long division and trying to factorize. So first thing first, this is a factor. So I'm going to put let's first of all let's do the long division, and let's choose red. So we know that x minus 2 is a factor of f of x. So let's just factorize f of x. So let's first of all do long division. This is x cubed. Okay, x squared minus 11x and plus 10. Right, so you should have done this, some of this in practice in class before, and now it should be really straightforward. Just double check that this is going down in powers of powers of 1. So we start with descending power. So 3, 2, 1, and obviously 0, which will just give me a constant. And then we just kind of divide through here and see what's going to divide into to get the quadratic. We should be getting out a quadratic. So first of all, the best way to think about this, let's do this in here, is to think, what do I times this x to give me x cubed? So that's going to be x squared. And then you've got to times each one of those by x squared. So x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times minus 2 is minus 2x squared. Now you've got to be careful here that we don't, when we're subtracting, we don't ignore the negative numbers, and we just be a little bit careful. Now what should happen here is this should always disappear. So x cubed minus x cubed should just go. Okay, that's the whole reason for doing this, getting rid of the x cubes. And now just be careful here. This is x squared minus minus, so minus minus becomes a plus, 2 become 1. So you got x squared plus 2x is, we're going to end up with 3x squared. And then the rest we can just bring down. Okay, don't need to do anything there because these are all zeros here. So that's going to be minus 11x, and that's going to be plus 10. And what we've done is we changed by doing this first process, we've got rid of the x cubes. So we just now end up with a quadratic. And we just need to do x divided into this quadratic. So same process again. What do I times x to get 3x squared? So I'm going to definitely times it by the 3. And I've already got x there, and I need x squared, so I need to have an x in here. So 3x times, now same thing, times each of those by 3x. So 3x times x is going to give me 3x squared. And 3x times minus 2 is going to give me minus 6x. I'm going to start the process all over again. So again, 3x squared minus 3x squared, that will disappear. That's going to be 0. That's the whole reason doing this. I just got to be careful with my negative numbers. Minus 11 minus minus becomes a plus, so it's minus 11 plus 6, which gives me minus 5. And just bring this down to 10. Now once I've done this, my remainder should be 0, because we know that from our remainder factor theorem that the remainder is 0. So once I've done this, it must be 0. If it's not 0, we've done something wrong. We need to go back and double check it. So I'm hoping once I've done this, our remainder is going to be 0. If it isn't, then I've definitely done something wrong, and I need to double check. And most likely what will happen is, if you've done an error here, not to panic, you've just made a mistake with 2 negatives becoming a positive. Okay, so that might be the case, or you might have just ignored the negative sign. So you just need to just go back and just be extra careful. Right, what do I need now? Again, I've got rid of the cubic to a quadratic, got rid of quadratic, so now equal to a linear. So all I need to do is x divided by this linear. What do I times x to give me minus 5x? So this is going to be minus 5. Okay, so minus 5 times x is going to give me minus 5x. And minus 5 times minus 2, 2 become 1, so that becomes positive. And 2 times 5 is 10, so that becomes a positive 10. And as you can see, that these two are exactly the same. And if you take away two numbers which are exactly the same, you end up with 0. Okay, so minus 5 minus minus becomes a plus. So minus 5 plus 5 is 0, and 10 take away 10 is 0. And that's what we should expect. Okay, so now we have got a linear factor, which is then going to be times by my quotient here, which is x squared plus 3x minus 5 to equal f of x. Okay, so these two times together is going to give me the function f of x. Okay, so that was the quadratic factor and that was the linear factor. Now it says exact form, so I'm guessing it's not going to factorize fully. So we need to find when f of x is 0. So we know that one solution when f of x is 0 is when x equals 2. We just need to go and find this when this is equal to 0. So, I mean, really, you can just do this in your calculator. I'm just going to quickly use, you could just put that in your calculator. I'm just going to complete the square very quickly and make that equal to 0. And that's going to be that plus 3 over 2 squared, take away 9 over 4 minus 5. It's going to equal 0. I'm going to end up with x plus 3 over 2 squared. That's going to give me 20 over 4 minus 29 over 4, which equals positive 29 over 4. And if I square root that, I'll end up with 3 over 2 equals 29 plus or minus square root of 4 is 2. Sorry, I'm doing quite a bit of this in my head, but like I said, you can just put it straight into your calculator and the answer will come straight out. 2. So now I've got all my factors out, so when it goes solve this for equal to 0 in the exact form, so x can equal 2 or x can equal minus 3 plus or minus root 29 all over 2. So we've got our solutions there. Okay, let's just have a quick one, the next one. So there we go. Have a pause it, double check it if you need to pause it and double check what's going on, what's this looking like, if you're happy with it. And then if you're not, just try to go through, see what's going on step by step. And obviously contact me, make a comment or write to me and tell me where you're stuck and I can do another video for you. Okay. Right, actually I'm just going to go for there's nothing else, we just had to solve this, there's no sketch. Okay, that's all right. Right, let's just quickly have a look at this. So now the polynomial x squared minus 4x plus 3 is a factor of the polynomial x cubed. Find the values of a and b. Okay, right, so let's just do this quickly. How can we do this? I'm trying to find the easiest way to do this. Yeah, let's just realize one thing you should realize here. Let's just see x squared minus 4x plus 3 can be factorized into, if we factorize this first of all, we've got x in each corner here, and then we can put a minus 3 here and minus 1 here. So I'm just double checking. X squared, yeah, and then you got the minus 1x, minus 1x, minus 3x is minus 4x, and 2 become 1, and we've got plus 3. Champion. Right, let's have a look. So we've got those factorized, and we know this is a factor of this. We need to find a and b. So we know that when it's a quadratic, there should be another factor. So we should have similar to what we've done before. Get that times by x minus 1, and if we times that by x plus m, a factor that I need to find out. So if I can find that out and I expand this, and that will be the same as x cubed plus ax squared plus 27x plus b. Now we know that this expanded and simplified is this, so we just need to times x squared minus 4x plus 3 by this factor x plus m, and if I times everything by x, I'll get x cubed minus 4x squared plus 3x. Now I'm going to times everything by m, so I'm going to get mx squared minus 4mx plus 3m. Okay, and now I'm going to match this is equal to this. So now let's just match all the, well, the x cubes are equal, so that's all right. Let's match all the x squares. So let's look at the x squares. So on the left hand side, I've got minus 4 x squares, and what else I've got? I've got plus m. Okay, and on the right hand side, I've got a lots of x squares. So I'm just leaving that at the moment. Let's look at the x's. Match all the x's up. The left hand side, I've got 3x, so I've got 3 there, and I've got minus 4m, so I've got minus 4m. Okay, so that's all my x's on the left hand side, and on the right hand side, I've got 27. So straight away, I can start solving this. I can take the 4m to this side and take so what I could do is let's just take this 3 to this side, so I'll get minus 4m. So if I take 3, this is a positive. Take it away from here, I'm going to end up with 27 take away 3 is 24, and m is going to equal 24 divided by minus 4. 6, 12, 18, 24, so it's just going to be minus 6. So m is going to be minus 6. So if m is minus 6, straight away we can go back and see what a is. So this is minus 6, so m is going to equal minus 6 plus minus 4 is minus 10. Alright, and now we're going to just match up the constants. Okay, so if we match up the constants here, what are the constants here? Is just this one, which is 3m. We know what m is. We'll do that in a second. And on here, the constants is just b on this side. And I know that m is minus 6, so therefore b is going to equal 3 times minus 6, which is going to give me minus 18. So all we need to do is find the values of a and b. Therefore, as you can see, a is equal to minus 10 and b is equal to minus 18. Sweet.